I think the state of Halo today is, it's an interesting question.
And if we're willing to ask that question and answer it with some actions, that's a fundamental change.
When I think about what we did on Halo 4 and Halo 5, we're always trying to do something that had a huge amount of ambition.
With Halo 5, our dialogue with the public is more around that power fantasy.
And so we focused a lot on sandbox, we focused on fair starts, we focused on all of these things that made kind of classic Halo great for the core.
It's easy to take what's new and compare it to other games, but doing so accomplishes little. Halo 5 is easily one of the best playing shooters of the year, and it reaches this height on its own terms.
People are proud of their individual components. I think when we took all of them and put them together into the game, the team as a whole felt that we didn't achieve what we wanted with the holistic experience.
If only the story met the same standard. There are times when the game makes narrative leaps that don't add up.
I think we had multiple dialogues, and that was the problem.
But nothing from that podcast is ever even explored.
My interpretation is we didn't know what that dialogue looked like. We just kind of started talking.
I feel like the more we talk about Halo's story, the more I'm like, Halo's story's kind of dumb. I'm gonna be honest, guys.
It's gotten rough. 5 took us there, man.
Yeah.
It's all Halo 5's fault.
Fix it, right the ship, or we're just gonna keep declining.
That's a choice that's available to us.
That's both a really scary thing.
Stepping outside of that gives me an enormous amount of hope if we're willing to, and so far we have been, match that with the actions that it does take to make that investment real and tangible.
And a really cool thing because it gives us a chance to do some awesome stuff. So we can leverage the strengths that we do have, which are recognition, our status as an icon, the fact that like if we put Halo on something and it's a high quality product, people are gonna be interested in checking it out.
There is no better way to clean the slate than a reboot.
By rebooting, taking things back, kind of simplifying the core elements, it lets us return to really the fundamental things that made Halo special.
That's what Legacy Halo is to me. It's the gameplay that introduced something that no other game within the industry had.
And I think what really has changed for me is value of that legacy.
I started to realize that Halo was bigger than any of its members.
When we start to try to distance ourselves from the things that made us unique to begin with, that's when the fun factor starts to be diminished.
We don't want to just cruise along. We don't want to just flatline as a franchise.
People don't expect as much out of Halo, which I think is pretty empowering because it gives a team a chance to come out of nowhere with something brand new that people didn't expect.
So all of this effort we're doing around the tool set is crucial to the longevity of the studio.
It's really solidifying our ability to be a full service. You don't just make content and walk away from it, which means we need better workflows to allow us to iterate and create that content faster and easier.
Instead of just making an incremental leap, really make a giant leap and raise the bar and hopefully reinvigorate the franchise.
I want to hit that kind of reset button in terms of what the expectations are immediately.
I want us to figure out how we can capture people's imaginations.
We want it to feel like it's this continuous story that kind of grows and evolves over time.
Here's an experience that is Halo to its core.
For old players, it has a sense of nostalgia and awe in its history. And then for new players, there's this big mystery about what is it.
You're like, I get to explore this world and I get to experience its mysteries. I'm telling you what I want out of the game, but I'm telling you that because I know that's exactly what the team is trying to build.
There's nothing scientific about that. Like, there's not a formula for that. But when you get it, when you play it, you know it. That's the game that I want to make, and that's the game that I think we're making.
Cop pulled me over in Kirkland and said, "Where are you going with 6 TVs in the dead of night?" And I said, we're playing Halo.
Halo was the first game that had LAN parties, was it not?
That was my first experience with LAN and people just hanging out and having fun together, literally in a basement.
The hardest I've ever laughed ever was in a multi-flag game on Snowbound.
I was playing Capture the Flag, and I really had no concept of what this was other than grab the flag and run.
2 scores to 2 scores with 3 to win, and he was bringing the flag back.
I was running, and I see the flag in front of me, and I just remember hearing over comms my friends saying, "Somebody grabbed the flag," and I was just about to do it, and they said, "Except for Lanny." And I was just like, what? Like, what kind of bullshit
is that?
And he's going through the snowbound base. People are chasing him. He's right about to cap it, and then I melee him in the back, take it, and then drop the cap to score. And I laughed so hard. It's so cruel, but it was one of the funniest things I've ever done in a video game.
Just feeling that adrenaline and my heart pumping.
But I'll just remember that story forever. I had the same film.
That was one of the things that got me hooked on Halo and playing multiplayer with friends, was just that excitement and the trash talking and the laughing.
It was that defining from those years of my life where all I thought about was, when is the next time I'm getting together with a bunch of people and kicking someone's ass in Halo?
And you may want to cut this one, but we would literally do victory laps around players. So we would have someone singing in the front.
The just kind of goofy romping that we'd have, beating each other up and yelling at each other. That's the stuff that sticks with me in the long run.
I'm not going to forget that forever. And I'm sure that the team that we faced will never forget that either.
Like those handful of really exceptional games where you would start playing at 7:30, 8 o'clock, no concept of time, zero, and would be shocked and upset, but somehow a little bit proud when you go to leave and the sun was already up. And there's so many emotions that, like, I can't, but you had so much fun. It was fun.
So many people talk about not the fact that it was 60 FPS or the fact that the ring was this big open space, but they talk about the memories they have playing with people.
Halo is a universal franchise. It should be for more people.
There's players out there that want to play Halo. They want to get into it, but there's that barrier, and so we're attacking those barriers.
Players discover games, they're watching their favorite streamers. How do we make our game more watchable and more visually interesting?
How does our game differentiate, and how do we make something that feels new and fresh but feels like Halo to its core?
In that offsite, we decided that we need to be disruptive in pursuit of making the best Halo game ever. And we can't continue to operate in the fashion that we have.
When we're thinking about a service, you don't just make content and walk away from it. No, you have to be consistently shipping great, high-quality content, which means we need better workflows to allow us to iterate and create that content faster and easier.
We talked about a number of things that we wanted to investigate fixing in our tool chain. And then we put all those on pause so that we could go investigate Unreal to see if that would be a better path forward for the studio.
We've always put trying to make a great game ahead of enabling ourselves to make a great game.
To even attempt to do some of the stuff we're talking about doing, our tools had to get upgraded.
I decided that the most important thing that we could do was investigate, could we make a better game in Unreal?
Well, let's take a look at it. Instead of spending man-years of time building the tool set, maybe we can buy the tool set and then spend the time trying to recreate our game experience in that engine.
Because Unreal's pipeline and what artists can do in Unreal is extremely powerful.
At the end of the leadership offsite, we asked for a vote of where people stood on the engine.
And what we found through the investigation was that the Halo engine actually is a much more powerful engine at runtime.
The result of that vote was about 85% roughly to stay in our engine.
It would have been like another 2 man-years of work to replicate our in-game systems that kind of make Halo Halo, and then we would be able to play the game we have today in the Play Lab.
It gave a lot more context to what was out there, what our competitors were doing.
We want to go after making this engine a modern, competitive engine with Unreal or other first-party engines that other companies make.
If we think about the engine as a product, it starts to make you think about how the engine fits together in a way that makes it easier to be a service, makes it easier for us to have people focus on workflow.
And that's where the true fun is found. You have a creative, cool idea, but then you need to be able to quickly iterate on it many times, try it out in game as quickly as possible, and have those tools to innovate and find the fun.
But the reality is that we need to be critically thinking about where we are in order to make a large leap forward.
Arena was critical to start with.
Rather happy to share that even before the free play period, Halo 5 has had the highest monthly active players for a Halo title since Halo 3.
Since 3. That was like one of their biggest.
That was, yeah.
It
also,
was the biggest, right?
Well, yeah, until now.
Our #1 priority was making that multiplayer competitive because we wanted to bring back the HCS, and I think we nailed that.
Amazing when you watch it on a hyper-competitive level, but as a new player, it's overwhelming.
We're in a fine line between renovation and classical legacy.
We still need to evolve, we still need to grow and expand, but we need that legacy as a foundation rather than throwing it out, build upon it.
There's a tons of things that we've done that sometimes were great, but that added a lot of cluttering and noise. We want to make sure that all these visuals will be clearer, more readable for the players, and instantly recognizable as something that will be more connected to classic Halo.
once multiplayer launches, the whole campaign begins, right? From our perspective and marketing's. And so here, I think we would likely start even talking about Road to the Ring. We're going to start seeding in the context for what's going on right away. And it'll be in a light way instilled in everything you're doing. And so the front end is a good example of that because it's the first thing any player will see. Pocket levels are a thing that we will have and do have, and those will change every quarter in some way. We have this concept of these pocket levels, and that is fully immersing the UI into the context.
For us, in a lot of ways, that's where starting with your multiplayer Spartan and having a little bit of a story that kind of starts there, I think will help start to bridge that gap a little bit. Like, oh, this even has a narrative context well before the campaign even shows up.
And so I come in as like, oh, okay, I'm already in the Bay of the Infinity, and I see a bunch of recruits. The thing that I personally like about this recruitment aligning with the players and the product and what's happening in the universe is it's speaking to you as a player.
You need to connect people to what the core values of that franchise are.
Showing people that you can be a hero, that you should have duty, that you should be able to do the hard thing, that matters. Like, more now probably than ever.
And he's got his recruitment armor on, right? And he's in the foreground of the pocket level, and he's looking off, and there's a bunch of people in line, and they're all kind of joining up.
When we talk about onboarding, we talk about Spartan Academies. We know that if you go into multiplayer, you don't kill anyone, you die a lot, you don't come back.
If you've never played Halo before, even if you've never played a shooter before, we want to provide safe spaces for you to learn the controls and learn our maps and learn our modes and play against bot opponents if you're too intimidated by human opponents.
Like ramping people up in a way that you feel like you are getting better, and there's a huge amount of depth to it.
But you're also going to have these quarterly beats where we have new content, new modes, and new experiences coming out. And the UI will kind of expand over time and grow to reflect the new activities that you can do in the game.
I think the possibility that this gives us to innovate is really exciting.
Sockets are about giving players the choice to play the way they want to play.
It's a foundation that allows us to modularize gameplay functionality. And these components can be added or removed from the different sandbox items, and that's like your armor, weapons, vehicles. What that gives us is great potential to innovate with new types of gameplay. If all you have is a weapon and you're better at using a weapon than I am, well, you're always going to be better than me. But if I have the potential to play a support role, that allows me to be a valuable contributing member just by adding new abilities or new features through the sockets.
Really about you becoming a Spartan. So how do we make you feel personalized and that you're having these amazing moments happen to you?
We're going to give the player more control over the cosmetic appearance of their Spartan than we've ever had in any Halo game.
Leaving red versus blue in the past and letting players have their normal colors in game.
We draw outlines. A blue outline means that's an ally, and then a red outline means that's an enemy. And it's really easy to pick that up, and you kind of don't even need to explain it to people.
As you play, you'll be able to see wear and tear on your suit. If you want to show people your battle scars that you've earned, you can.
It's like you're part of this living experience.
The road to the ring is this building up of armaments, right? And building up of your army.
It's your progression, it's your customization and cosmetics. The story is you in the multiplayer.
The 2019 release will signal to fans of the franchise that the old modes of distribution are no longer necessary.
Our build-up and crescendo is the battle for the ring.
I don't have to wait 3 years between experiences arbitrarily anymore.
That's where the UNSC is going. That's where they need to go to save humanity.
And further, the team who is bringing me this is learning how to make it better with every week that goes by.
And then campaign comes out and you're on the ring.
We are starting to see some great games come back to the map. And this is the first time anybody has ever seen it. It's the first time they've debuted it. Halo is the name of this game, and we're going to see, for the first time, Halo.
When the game was revealed, and it was revealed to be this kind of open world looking, super ambitious at the time shooter, I remember watching that video and thinking, oh man, I'm going to get to explore that world.
I used to be like a Mac fan, and I remember seeing the videos and also reading an article coming from the people who had done a game that I really liked. So they had done Myth: The Fallen Lords, and I was like, oh my god, another game, and it's a shooter, and it's coming to Macintosh. So I was excited. I remember that.
Microsoft is buying Bungie software products to add games for its personal computers and Xbox and video game console. Bungie's computer-added video games include sci-fi action epic dubbed Halo.
Came exclusive, and the rest is history.
I am going to be playing Halo in the flesh on the Xbox. On behalf of the whole Halo team, this is Halo. And this This is you. An elite military unit, you are the last of your kind.
I vividly remember Chief crashing on the ring, looking up and seeing this crazy thing in the sky and the beautiful environments and the open spaces and just being completely blown away by it.
Recognizing this is a place that I'm going to be able to explore, this is a place that I'm going to be able to move around and go to locations that maybe are off the beaten path, but have still been realized in the artist's mind.
Marooned on this halo. They have to piece the story together of what happened. They have to piece together the plan of how do we move forward from here. And they have to piece together what's left of humanity.
The big focus of this presentation and the update is about how we got to this clean slate state for the story. That doesn't mean we're throwing out canon. Everything we've done here still fits, but we said to ourselves ultimately in that spiritual reboot kind of way, why not put the game state in the place where we want it to be in our hearts right away?
There's a cost of entry when you have a story that's running across many games. We want to be able to allow people to come in and not feel intimidated by our franchise.
This silly drawing that I put up that is actually a spine and a rib cage coming off of the spine. With our open structure, we can tell a very simple story in the core main thread that is very easy to understand. What I mean by easier to understand specifically is this main story thread is what we want to be as simple and straightforward as possible. But we have these subplots and these submissions directly connected to the main story, but it has its whole deep backstory in and of itself. They're still very first-class citizens. They have all the elements of a critical path mission, but they are opt-in.
We want people to fill in their own blanks.
Giving Cortana her own deep narrative in one of these ribs that is opt-in allows the player to feel ownership over that journey. And it brings you down all of the twists and turns and eventually ends in her redemption and her sacrifice and how you got to that point. Now, obviously, the player won't know this stuff explicitly right off the bat when they start. We want them to actually start with questions, and then throughout playing the game, they answer those questions. Titans have met. Cortana had a fail-safe built in that allowed her to do 3 very important things if she were to ever lose the ring and lose it to somebody who is going to use it for ill. First, the ring is moved into deep space. Second, an encoded message is sent to the UNSC. And the third thing that happens is Cortana sacrifices herself while she's on the ring and destroys a critical piece of it to prevent it from being fired. And that's why you see in the skybox this pretty meaningful scar. Ultimately, one of our goals here is to get Chief and Cortana reunited.
Taking the story back to the nucleus, which is Chief and Cortana, bringing them back together.
The game opens on this squad of Marines. They are going to some coordinates and they're going to get the package. And they come around a corner and at the end of the hallway, they see this device. Once they get close enough, Sentinels erupt from the rooms, ripping the Marines to shreds and cutting them down. But they did already activate that device. And as you can see, Chief is within the device in some sort of stasis or cryo. But during that sequence, we cut from the cinematic to first person. And the thing opens up and you're him all over again. You come out, see the carnage, you scan them, and you find out they're from some UNSC camp. And it says you need to go north, and you leave the installation and you're on the ring. The UNSC is on the down and out. They've lost the battle for the ring. They are on the ropes, and they need someone to come in and lead them, and that's the player, that's Chief. For many, many months, the UNSC didn't know where he was, and so he comes in from the cold, in from the wilderness, joins up with the UNSC, and he's also introduced to a new Cortana AI in the process. He, at the time, doesn't know what's going on exactly, and the player doesn't either.
Resetting her so that she starts at the same level playing field that the player is and Chief is, and you get to experience that together. She'll have her own insight, but she won't have the literal knowledge to tell you what actually is happening.
Her arc will be this clean slate, fresh perspective that is being built up over time.
Some of the best levels: Silent Cartographer, Assault in the Control Room, 2 Betrayals. You could list almost every level in the first game. There was a pervasive reality of exploration.
But now we're just taking that and giving you 10 times more choice.
So the ring specifically, and I look at the ring as a character, will separate us from other games.
There's this wonder of it with the, oh, it's a world and a weapon.
It's going to be this living, breathing entity that even has a battle scar.
It appeals to something deep inside you that desires to go to a place like this and longs to see and experience and interact in a place that is completely otherworldly, yet very grounded in reality.
We really want to have people stay and give them an experience that makes them want to stay. And I think just doing something like Halo 5 again would not achieve that.
People want a game that's super sticky, that they want to come back to. They also want their friends to want to come back to it as well.
We need to be defined as an experience that is able to bring together players of all skill levels.
We'll be successful if we can keep our focus for the amount of years that we need to keep focus.
We will be successful with Olympus if we listen to our fans, try bold new things, iterate, and then continually improve along the way.
If you want to reinvigorate the franchise, compete with the changing landscape, you have to disrupt.
I think it is a challenge, but those kinds of challenges are what bring out the best in a studio.
I think the best thing I like about Halo is those crazy moments that happen during campaign or during multiplayer matches. So those are great moments that make players feel powerful and awesome.
We're just playing with this game because it feels good to play.
There are things that we do really well in terms of gameplay and will always stand out. They will stay unmatched for a very long time.
It should be therapeutic. If you create a game that is not therapeutic for people, you're not going to be successful.
You don't want to be overly sweaty. You don't want to be pounded on by a 12-year-old yelling about chocolate milk.
It's like, I want to maintain the performance we had before.
How can we be something that's different and potentially that next meaningful thing in video gaming?
I want to make it look freaking amazing.
It's a very long-term bet instead of a short-term bet, and I think that's one of the best things that we've done here.
And I want to spend time helping the art team generate content much easier.
I think we're on the road to success for sure.
It's multiplayer, it's campaign, it's story, it's everything. I want to bring the joy back to Halo.
I want to put the hungry back in Halo.
I want to make a game that feels like a phenomenon.
Imagine right now you teleported into the future. Olympus is done, and you've shipped your last update. And now you're seeing your game, and people playing your game. It's the best game you've ever made. It's career defining. It's incredible. You're stoked. You now have a Vine video to send back to your old self. So you have 6 seconds to convey this idea. What did it look like? What was the tone? What was the gameplay? You have to convey that in 6 seconds. You, to your current day self that you're sending this video back to, they have to understand that, and that's going to guide them to make that game. And so it's an interesting way to kind of look at like, oh yeah, vision's supposed to carry you through things. It's not just to when we ship. It's got to be like a long-term thing. And then on top of that is the why we're here. Like that's the kind of mission statement of the team. Like that goes between games. That should live forever.
See the mountain, you're not sure how to get there.
You want them to discover what they need to do. So you have to take them on an emotional journey that makes them want to discover more.
Finding like vision, like it's interesting, it's hard, it's really, really hard, but it's driving me to keep pushing.
You give something for people to rally around, and they will rally, and they'll do their best work.
Five years ago, there was such a focus in the industry and in our medium of the blockbuster mentality, and it kept escalating year over year.
The middle end of gaming has like dropped out. AA games are kind of like dead now, and it's pretty much AAA and like indie games.
Influentially, we kind of assumed the bubble would break, or they would just break under stress, right? And we started losing track of sort of the soul of it all.
Our new dog model is taken from high-resolution scans of an actual SEAL team service dog.
I think games in general got into this very kind of like, give me your hand, let me walk you through an experience.
I think that's something we can learn from. I don't think it means go leave and go start an indie studio. I think it means we've just lost that soul.
That's what Halo 1 did so well, was that like I'm in a big space and I have to kind of figure out what I'm going to do next. And it didn't tell me what to do. I just had to find my way.
Yeah, there's the impact. There's nothing we can do.
That feeling that Halo gave a lot of people.
Give you another
you gotta go over here. And they coming down with all these ships and they trying to get you.
I think that's a feeling you can get from any game you play that is done that really speaks to you.
And I'm hoping that we're kind of coming around to wanting to find that soul again.
How do I help this all become a thing that all is one piece?
The development that we're going through is like the game we're trying to make.
How do we share things? How do we learn from each other? How do we leverage each other's knowledge? Or how do we just get in a room and all riff together and come up with ideas? That's really inspiring to me.
We have to be able to navigate through the wilderness and be okay with adapting to what we discover.
Asking ourselves why. Why do we come to work? What is our team's job?
We've thrown tech at a problem, right? We make it high tech. We're like, just put a bunch of science fiction on that shit, and it's like, go, go, go. But now I think I want to be more thoughtful about it, and I think Nick does too. Okay, let's pick our battle.
What is the purpose of Arena in the greater picture of Halo?
Every time I dropped, because I got the flag and I was fighting, and maybe it's just me, I actually went off the ground.
What is the purpose of Warzone and Firefight and Forge? What do those mean to our whole thing? That's an important question to ask, and I think we've kind of just gotten comfortable with they exist, so let's just do them. We're trying to take a step back and look at the bigger picture.
And so how do we find that and bring that indie spirit back into the games?
You gain access into the installation and work your way down into its lower chambers. And I'm going to gloss over the actual combat and gameplay in here. It's more about the experience. Even if you have this really compelling idea of a story, if you don't execute on it well, I'm, as a player, not going to care about it.
He's hot! Blowing the pins in 5!
With CE and with the early games, it was more kind of that World War II, you're clear cut, right? It's I know this has to happen, and I'm the one to do it.
What I love about that game is there's moments of isolation and that kind of I'm lost in a bigger world. People kind of relate to that inside.
That sense of solitude is important for setting up the mysteries, I think, right? Where you're not going to have that answer person that is with you all the time, kind of keeping you going.
Rolling up on your first kind of Forerunner little cropping or base, that was a big moment. What is this thing? It was mysterious, it's interesting, and those things kept kind of engaging me to keep pushing further.
We don't want people to be around and explain what's going on. We want you to explore and discover.
We are in a franchise where a lot of mysteries have been solved.
You must be silenced.
So to regenerate that mystery like CE is a new challenge for us.
You allow them in other years.
Going back to wanting to unearth those mysteries and having that sort of carrot out there where you want to believe there's something more.
Make it kind of their story, because I think when you're having those, sometimes it's a long walk or a long drive in your hog.
You're constantly traveling to that belief, you're using your faith and your belief that there's a solution to that mystery.
You're looking around and you're kind of imagining yourself in that place. What would you do there? And oh, where am I going? Oh, what's that thing over there? I want to go there. And I think that it leads to that sense of wonder and that personal feeling of that desolation and the kind of isolation and loneliness that kind of pushes the adventurer's journey.
And you get to interface into that when you go and find it.
If we can get back to that core feel, and some of that is the solitude I mentioned, and kind of returning to the classic chief feel, but also the ring, right? The ring is a simple concept you can understand.
And just making that feel like it's enough that feels believable. That's the other hard part, is to make sure it feels believable. So not too much, not too little, and finding that sweet spot of that feels like if I close my eyes, I believe that is really happening.
That sense of wonder and that sense of feeling like a child again. Exploring something that's bigger than you, I think that'll keep people always coming back.
I feel like any creative person worth their salt wants to make something great.
I think my passion earlier in my career was my passion to just succeed and do well.
Halo is one of those franchises that is the perfect foundational kind of landscape to have that occur upon, right? Because it is about greatness. Chief and all the other characters, right? They are characters that have achieved greatness.
Before it was about getting it done and working overtime and hitting our dates and stuff, and that was very important to me. And now that's not. To me, that's just something maybe you have to do if you made bad mistakes in the beginning, right? To me now, it's we need to set ourselves up for success with a good idea.
The power of names sometimes, right? The Halo or the Flood, right? Those are very memorable things because there's weight to them, and belief and faith, that's a part of the foundation of the franchise.
If we can get to a point where the community is buying into where we're pushing it and where we're trying to drive Halo forward to, then I think that's when we'll see a success.
There's a correlation there. It's not just belief in the franchise and in the medium in the game, but in the team.
I'm actually pushing on everybody to start thinking as like, what is that last thing you want to ship? That last update, what is that? Where do you want your mode to be when you ship there? And we're going to aim in that direction.
Once they feel both accountable as well as empowered to own an experience and drive it, you're going to fuel that kind of daily just excitement for, okay, this is the thing, this is the mountain, this is Mount Olympus that we're going after.
And the more we can define what we're making in both emotional and technical and design and art and all those things, visual, the better we can start aligning people's skills.
As long as we build solid foundations, we can keep growing that experience in really solid and meaningful ways.
Similar question was asked of me back in college. What drives you? What makes you want to do this thing? And my answer was, I want to make people happy.
We have a foundation. We have this amazing franchise.
The other way to say that is I want to make people feel something.
We now have the right people to do something that is actually an evolution in a meaningful way.
It's not just about the art. It's not just about the design. It's not just about the UI. It'll be all the smart choices we made along the way that come together into something really awesome.